The EFF has responded to the African National Congress's announcement of the formation of a government of national unity with the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front Plus. Both parties are vying to align with the ANC, a move that the EFF has criticized. The party firmly declares it will not join any government that includes these parties. Let's now bring in Sam Matiase, who is the Central Command Team member of the EFF. Sam, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. What's your understanding of that letter that came from the ANC over the weekend around the 10 political parties that now form part of the so-called Government of National Unity?
Thank you so much. Greetings, Aldrin, and greetings to viewers at home. Look, let's give a historical context and perspective. The Russian Revolution, which occurred on October 1917, was preceded by what was called a provisional government of elements which are like Cyril Ramaphosa and Fikile Mbalula, opportunists and careerist elements, who at the beginning of 1917 led what was called a provisional government, misleading workers that it was a genuine, true outcome of the struggles of workers, only to be repudiated by Lenin when he said, this is not a government that all of us have been fighting for. And a real struggle started, which resulted in the Bolshevik October Revolution, which installed the proper revolutionary government of the people. Likewise, fast forward in 2024, Ramaphosa is presiding over a falsehood of what he refers to as a government of national unity. In fact, it must be rejected as the EFF has done, because this is the stage of the highest form where both the ANC and the DA and all right-wing formations have reached a point where they are now making official the fat and set arrangement that they've been having since 1994. Now they want to bring it out to the public for everyone to see, making everyone to buy into it. And the EFF says this constitutes nothing different from what we had in 1994, and we're rejecting it. And the EFF is not prepared to enter into any arrangement which continues to mislead our people, making them to believe that out of this arrangement, true and genuine freedom and liberty shall be brought. The struggle for African revolution led by the EFF is in full swing, and it shall result into a genuine freedom for our people.
Yeah, well, the EFF was willing to work with the ANC, with, of course, the exclusion of the Freedom Front Plus as well as the Democratic Alliance. From your understanding, Sam, what went wrong in those negotiations? Why was the EFF not able to convince the ANC why it should work with the EFF, considering also, as you know, that some of the EFF members have been members of the ANC before, have left the ANC. And some people said that there may be some parallels when you look at the policies of the EFF and that of the ANC. So from your understanding, what went wrong? Well,
the EFF has been of a belief that as the ANC characterized itself as the disciplined force of the left, at the point where the ANC has lost majority, it would come to its senses, it will eat a humble pie, it will swallow its pride, and lift and shift towards the left where the EFF is, as it has always been claiming to be a disciplined force of the left. Clearly, the ANC has never been such a disciplined force of left. It has been misleading our people, using left rhetoric to make our people believe that the ANC represents the deeper aspirations of the working class.
Sure, but what went wrong in the negotiations? Because the EFF was willing to negotiate with the ANC. Your CIC also said that they're even willing to take up the positions on the various committees as chairpersons of the various committees, your deputy president as the committee chairperson of the finance committee. So what went wrong?
That's the basis of what went wrong. The ANC is not a disciplined force of the left. Two, the ANC serves at the behest of the capital, of the behest of white monopoly capital. It serves the interest of the Ruppers and the Oppenheimer of this world. It is not prepared to disappoint the class that it represents. And the ANC, once and for all, and it's important that everyone realizes this. And as Karl Marx describes this, the modern state is nothing else but the committee that manages the general affairs of the ruling class. And who are the ruling class? Are those businessmen and women who've continued to finance the DA, the ANC, and other reactionary formations such as the IFP, Rise Mzansi, and all of those splinter groups from the DA. These are the parties and the class that the ANC serves, and the ANC doesn't make bones about serving the interests of the rich in this country at the expense of the interests of the poor. I think that's the crust.
Yeah, don't you think maybe some of the demands that the EFF also had made the ground fertile for political parties like the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front Plus to work with the ANC? Because some of the demands that the EFF was making were demands that the ANC couldn't fulfill.
Those demands from where the EFF stands are minimum demands of our people as contained in the Freedom Charter. Minimum. And the program of the EFF, which is based off the 7 cardinal pillars, is the maximum program that leads us to socialism. Now, if the ANC cannot meet its own minimum program, what is expected of an organization such as that has lost shape, that has lost form, that has abandoned its own minimum program? The Freedom Charter is what the ANC is unable to meet.
Yep.
And the demands of the EFF are essentially the minimum program containing the Freedom Charter of the ANC, and nothing more and nothing else.
Yeah, okay, they make reference to the Freedom Charter as well. But let's quickly go to the statement that you issued yesterday. You say that South Africa will witness an opposition like never before, dedicated, relentless, and committed to justice and radical economic transformation. I guess the difference here is also that you're no longer the 3rd biggest political party, but the 4th biggest. The MK party, also their members being sworn in tomorrow. What's the relationship going to be like in terms of the working relationship between the EFF as well as Umkhonto we Sizwe political party, which will be led by the former Judge President of the Western Cape High Court Division, Judge John Hlophe?
The EFF remain unshaken to its fundamental principles and values, and it shall pursue those principles and values and the program contained in the founding manifesto. We shall be a radical force, we shall be a militant, fearless vanguard of all protest movements and organizations, students, and the dejected masses of our people. We shall consolidate the progressive caucus. We shall consolidate the progressive voice of all oppressed and exploited masses of this country and advance primarily the agenda for the African masses in particular and blacks in general. Now, the MK party is it's a progressive organization. And it's as a result of the struggles of the EFF. The EFF committed itself as it applies its tactical methods to destroy the ANC, to bring it to its knees, to cause confusion. And in the process, parties such as MK Party have been formed. So MK Party is a product of our struggles. And we're more than willing to embrace them and work with them going forward.
Okay, what's your reading and understanding around some members of the Progressive Caucus leaving the Progressive Caucus to join the Government of National Unity, UDM, the PAC, as well as Al-Jama? Does this point to a level of dissatisfaction or perhaps maybe around the coordination of the Progressive Caucus? What's your reading into it?
The problem of those organizations that are leaving the Progressive Caucus is that, first and foremost, are of old people who have been around for the longest of time, and they're tired shame. What else can you do about them? They want to taste power. They want the spoils of executive positions. They can't wait any further. And I don't want to mention names. And that's the crisis of old people who want to be revolutionaries when they have lost all the appetite to become progressive and revolutionary. That's the first point. The second point is that we are not going to sacrifice and compromise principle on the altar of political opportunism and expedience. And that's the position that the EFF takes. And unfortunately, all other parties that have left the Progressive Caucus, clearly they're prepared to sacrifice principle on the altar of political expedience and opportunism.
Thank you so much for your time. That was a Central Command team member of the EFF, Sam Matiase.